with M.A.K.E Nevada. And in here, you can see Smooshy. She's in her little cubby that I make during the day. She likes to be in front of her favorite window, cat TV. She likes to have a blanket. Man, new respect for weather reporters because they can do this like backwards. Huh, that's funny. It's such a mind trick. Anyways, blanket that goes around. And then I have a heating blanket in there now because we're heading into the winter and it's colder by the window. So, anyways, what are we doing today? What we are doing today is we are reading about feline nutrition. And I will put in the link, the comments, that it is a website called Hare, as in a rabbit, HARE, hare-today.com /feline nutrition. And I'll put that in the description. So this is the Feline Nutrition Foundation. It says, we are excited and beyond honored to host the Feline Nutrition Foundation archive. First, a little background. The Feline Nutrition Foundation was founded in 2008 as an organization dedicated to educating pet parents about the benefits of raw meat diets for felines and to advocate for changing how cats are fed, while providing science-backed information on diet and health. The Feline Nutrition Foundation has helped many people make informed decisions about what to feed their feline family members. In 2011, the Feline Nutrition Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit, was created to focus on education and outreach. The foundation gathered information from many sources: veterinarians, researchers, seasoned raw diet experts, authors, and people just like you, pet parents who want the best for their cats. The approach on the subject of feline nutrition was not viewed narrowly, but rather they kept an open mind, knowing that there are many ways to do it right, which has served feline guardians in finding what works for them and their cats. Above all, the Feline Nutrition Foundation wanted to change the very definition of what cat food is in people's minds, first starting from what cats evolved to eat and not from overly processed leftovers from human food production. When it comes to cat food, and everything you thought you knew could very well be wrong, says founder Margaret Gates. And over the last decade and beyond, the Feline Nutrition Foundation has spent many years trying to help make it right. Please join me in giving a round of applause to all the great people behind this wonderful foundation. The time put into sharing this level of detail is noteworthy, and we are humbled to share their hard work and preserve the knowledge that can be found within the Feline Nutrition Foundation archive. And it says archives contain primary source documents that have accumulated over the course of an individual or organization's lifetime and are kept to show the function of that person or organization. Our mission. Feline nutrition's vital and irreplaceable information goes seamlessly with our mission to promote the practice of feeding domestic dogs, cats, and other carnivores a species-appropriate diet of uncooked meats, edible bones, and organs. Hare Today is a supporter of sharing credible information with verifiable foundations at the core. And then it has missions as a link. Our mission: promote a species-appropriate diet for domestic cats, dogs, and other carnivores, focusing on uncooked meats, edible bones, and organ meats while balancing risks for optimal health. We commit to manufacture and safely handling raw materials free from hormones and antibiotics, ensuring humane treatment of animals. Our aim is to meet the natural dietary needs intended by nature for our domesticated carnivores. We believe that a natural, species appropriate diet is essential for the well being of our pets. That's why we offer a range of high quality, ethically sourced raw foods and treats to nourish your furry friends just as nature intended. Our dedication doesn't stop at providing exceptional products. We prioritize education, helping pet owners understand the benefits of raw feeding and how to safely incorporate it into their pets' lives. Through detailed guides and one on one support, we empower you to make informed decisions that promote the health and happiness of your animals. By choosing hair today, you are not only investing in your pet's future, but also supporting local farmers and a community of like minded individuals who share our passion for animal welfare. Together, we can make a positive impact one meal at a time. And then let's go back. Oops, go back, go back. Here we go. Please recall our disclaimer that our purpose and heart lays in sharing experiences as they relate to the health and well being of animals, and in particular to our raw feeding journey. Okay, what's their disclaimer? Disclaimer. As you look through our raw food education and resources, please know that those are intended for informational purposes only and should not substitute for your veterinarians, and I will always encourage a holistic veterinarian advice, diagnostics, or treatments. Always seek the advice of your veterinarian with any questions you may have regarding the medical condition of your pet. Never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you read on our website. Any information provided is accurate and true to the best of my knowledge, but as human nature allows, there may be omissions, errors, or mistakes. As you look through information shared on our site, please know that those are intended. Oh, okay, that was the disclaimer. A note from Feline Nutrition's founder, Margaret Gates. It has been an amazing journey. I started Feline Nutrition in 2008 after I realized there was a dire lack of information on feeding cats a species appropriate diet, especially for the beginner. Along with many dedicated and hardworking people, we built an organization focused on helping people feed their cats a diet best suited for their health and well being. Things have changed a lot since feline nutrition was founded. Raw meat diets have become much more accepted and available over the years. I hope we played a part in making that change happen. Hair Today was one of the first contacts I made back in 2008 when I was still a beginner. They have been a trusted source of raw foods for many years, and I am thrilled that they are hosting our archived articles on cat nutrition and health as we wind down the foundation's operations. Whether you are a raw meat diet beginner or an experienced raw feeder, you will find a wealth of science backed information in the archive to help you on your own journey. Welcome to Feline Nutrition. This is their first article. There are many things that go into keeping your cat healthy and happy. Genetics and environment play a part. But there is one thing that has a huge effect on your cat's health, and that is diet. Cats are predators that evolved to eat a diet of raw meat. It is only over the past 70 years or so that we have tried to feed cats a diet based on foods unsuitable for a strict carnivore: grains, vegetable, and plant matter, and highly processed and cooked meat products. It's no wonder cats suffer from so many diet-related diseases. We are changing that. You are here because you want to learn more about how to keep your cat healthy. Diet is the most important change you can make in your cat's life. We hear over and over again from pet parents who have changed their cat's diet and now wish they had done it sooner. They can't imagine feeding their cats any other way. Not only do they see improvements in their cat's health, but they feel a great sense of relief knowing they control what goes into their cat. No more mystery ingredients. Contemplating a diet change for your cat can be a bit overwhelming at first. We remember what it was like in the beginning. We were so used to leaving our cat's nutrition in the hands of others. But leaving it to others didn't work out so well, did it? Cat nutrition is complicated, right? Well, not really. It's actually pretty easy. We want to help you come to the right decision and feel confident about it. We want to help you do it right, and there's no single right way. There are many right ways to do it, so there will be a way that works for you and your cats. Whether it is a commercially prepared complete diet, a ground meat product you supplement yourself, a homemade raw meat diet, a whole meat cuts, whole prey items, or a combination of these. Your cat will see the benefits of a diet closer to what she evolved to eat. Where to start? You've already started just by being here. The next step is to read. We have a wealth of information on health and diet, practical how to articles and videos, and many stories from people just like you who changed their cat's diet and never looked back. Visit the answers area where we tackle the questions you have from basic to advanced. After you've read and have gotten a good sense of where you're going, start the transition. With some cats it's immediate. With some it will take a bit of patience and persistence. Stick with it. It's worth it. And please, let us know how it all works out for you. We want every cat everywhere to have a chance at a healthy diet, starting with yours. And then somebody wrote VC Conhece o Camelo. I don't know what that means. Hablo español un poquito. Creo que este es español. Es posible es Portuguese. No sé. Lo siento. Okie dokie. Let's go back. I keep clicking the wrong one. Okay. Beginner's luck. Where do I start? Congratulations on taking the first step toward feeding your cat a healthier diet. Just making the decision to change to raw cat food can be the hardest part. For many people, realizing you're obligate carnivore, that means they are obligated to eat meat, should be fed a diet closer to what it evolved to eat, is a complete shift in thinking about cat nutrition. Frankly, it's empowering to take control of what goes into your cat. It's also a bit of relief. No more mystery ingredients. No more worrying about what byproducts really means. You now get to skip an entire aisle at the grocery store. Well, except maybe to get some more kitty litter. You'll join the ever-growing cadre of pet parents who can't believe they ever fed anything other than nutritionally balanced raw food for cats. So, I don't know for sure. These are just rumors that I've heard. I have heard that in the slaughterhouse for human food, whatever crap falls down onto the floor, they'll scrape it all together, and some of it is then sold for pet food processing. I have heard that when there are animals that are at the stockyard, like the cows or whatever, that are dying, they're sick, they're already dead, uh, those will get sold off for animal food products, right? I've heard really, that's creepy, super duper creepy. So I'm sure there's some that are better quality than others, but whenever I open up that can and I just see that paste or whatever it is, there's always a part of me that's like, man, what is this? You know, what is this? And when you start to go down the rabbit hole with human food and you realize that there's all of these ways that they sneak stuff into our food, um, like natural flavorings, that doesn't necessarily mean it's natural. Somebody has little emojis. Anyways, I could go down a whole tangent. But now that you've made the decision, what next? A lot depends on where you and your cat are starting from. It will mean changing some habits, but it's worth it, not only for your own peace of mind, but also for the improvements, which are sometimes dramatic, you will see in your kitties. Here are the basics of what you need to do to get started. Beginners, take special note of the links in this article. They take you to helpful feline nutrition articles or videos that go into more detail on each subject. Do your homework. You may have already done this, but we need to emphasize it. Get the basics on what goes into feeding balanced raw food for cats. There are many ways to do it right, but there are also ways to do it wrong. There are basically two approaches: commercially prepared frozen complete meals or homemade, but they are not mutually exclusive. Most people end up feeding a combination. Commercially prepared meals are easy, just thaw and serve. That's what I have right now. It's called Viva. It might be called Viva Raw or Viva Fresh, but it was recommended to me by my friend. And you have to order it online. And you have to order a whole bunch in order to get free shipping, but that's how I roll. And there's a variety of things they offer: chicken, duck, rabbit, seasonal things like venison. There's packages where it's just the meat, that's it. And then there's packages where it's the meat plus additives for supplements. And because my friend, she's like a huge researcher, so I trust her. And she said that she does as she rotates. So she'll do a package of the single ingredient, and then she'll do a package of the additives. Now, it's not the same as human food. So when you look at it and it's a bunch of ground up chicken, it's not the same as human ground up chicken, because they're adding bones, they're adding organs, they're adding things that's not going to be in our human food, so that the cat is getting the right balance of taurine, which I believe it's taurine. That's an essential ingredient that cats get. Taurine, calcium, blah, 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 blah. I'm reading a Jackson Galaxy book. It's so freaking fascinating. I really wish I had started reading this stuff years ago. I kind of just wrote him off as like this, personality, but no, he's really experienced and quite the expert, and he always enlists, like in this book, the co-author is a PhD. He enlists a, accredited expert to help him with his information. He talks about how, I think it was like the 1960s, 70s, somewhere there's a certain transition where the pre-made cat food did not have taurine in it, and cats were dropping like flies. So that's really sad. Oh, right. If you're making homemade ground food, be sure to have the ingredients you need. Note on that. This stuff, I never ever thought about this stuff. I've been learning all my life, just like you. I did not pop out of the womb, being passionate about animal health and care the way I am now. It's an ever evolving process. But I was at a friend's house, this couple who were older than me, um, it was like 2010, 2012. They were older. The wife had survived cancer, and they had this really old dog. And we were in their kitchen, and she had this huge, like, commercial level silver container, this huge container. And she had this stuff that she was stirring up. And I'm like, "What's that?" And she goes, "Oh, it's my dog food." And I'm like, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, I make my own dog food." She goes, "The vet said this dog should have been dead years ago, and I told them buzz off." And she put the effort into making homemade dog food, and then she said she would freeze it in little bits and then defrost it bit by bit. Cat deprived. Hey, just popping on to say hi and see what's going on here. I am reading an article about cat nutrition, about raw food, and then also just ranting and raving. So yeah, so through these friends is the first time, and it was a little bit over a decade ago, was the first time I had encountered people who made their own dog food. And I had never even thought of that before, you know? And it just planted that little seed. But then whenever you go to the vet and you talk about that or ask that, the vets will always say, no, don't do that. Feed them the Hills diet, the Royal Canin, or whatever. But then I started to work in the animal field and I started to work with a lot of different vets. And when you work with especially older, experienced vets, they have a lot to say about how the vet industry has changed. And I really trust them. And I love old school vets. It breaks my heart to see one when they retire because the old school has a lot to offer. That's all I'm going to say. But, anyways, the old school vets are the ones who are going to say you don't have to trust every single thing that a vet tells you. Just like human doctors, there are going to be some human doctors who are better than others. When I go to a human doctor and they don't even ask me about what am I eating, I immediately don't respect them or believe what they're going to tell me what to do next for whatever I went to them for. Like the favorite doctor I ever found, and unfortunately I can't go to him because of insurance, and he changed his practice to a geriatric practice, and I'm not geriatric yet. Um, Dude, the first thing he wanted to know is a detailed list of like everything I'm eating, all my supplements, and he wasn't some hippy dippy holistic naturopath. He was a regular doctor, and he also would recommend books. How many doctors do you know recommend books? Like, to educate yourself, right? So some human doctors are better than other human doctors. Some vets are better than other vets. Um, what does it take to make cat food yourself? Quit monologuing and fart on the mic. I'm not going to do that, you pervert. Um, to make food yourself, I don't know. That's why I'm trying to educate myself because right now I buy pre-made raw food from a company called Viva. It comes frozen and it's flash frozen so that if there's any parasites in the meat, like worms or whatever, um, it will kill those. All right, so let's just keep on going. I'll try to stop chatting so much because I got to go to work soon. If you're making homemade ground food, be sure you have the ingredients you need. You can't just omit things from the carefully crafted recipe. You can also get ground meat bone organ mixes that you simply add the supplements to, like taurine. If you don't want to grind your own, it's often easier to add the supplements in the form of a premix, such as All Nutrin, Better in the Raw, or TC Feline rather than individually. Making your own raw cat food may seem daunting, but we recommend giving it a try. It's a lot easier than you might think and will give you a good idea of what goes into natural raw food for cats. Most commercially prepared raw meals are made in a way similar to what you would do at home, so following a recipe is educational. Also, your kitties will sometimes prefer freshly made food, so it may help with transitioning. Ollie says hi. Hello. Assess your cats. Before you start changing the food they eat, it's a good idea to get an accurate weight on each of your cats. And if you don't have a pet scale at home, what I do is I weigh myself, then I hold my cat, I weigh again, and then I subtract my own weight for the weight of the cat, right? That's a way that you can do that. Um, Dr. Andrew Jones, I believe. He's on YouTube. He's Canadian. He's a white guy, blue eyes, graying blonde hair. Trying to describe him so you can find him. Dr. Andrew Jones, I believe. He will teach you how to do a basic medical exam of your cat. This is what they're going to go into. Another important item, if your cat has medical issues, you must see the vet before changing its foods. Changes in diet can have an impact on cats with medical problems like diabetes, thyroid. That makes a lot of sense. When we add more food our cats' bowls, even though they might not be empty, they'll always just snack a little on the newly added food. Mm-hmm. Um, Often these will be positive impacts, but they can be negative. So it's a good idea to work with your vet if your cat is ill. For example, in diabetic cats, a change to natural diet can have an immediate and dramatic effect on the cat's blood sugar. Dosing with insulin without checking the glucose levels could result in giving way too much insulin. Don't be afraid to get a second opinion if your vet is not well versed in cat nutrition. Don't mess around with diabetic cat owners. Those people are passionate. I worked at a cat specific vet hospital briefly, and if somebody is going to put the effort into keeping and caring for a diabetic cat, they are going to be the kind of person who's going to do their research and be very, very, very careful. You don't have to worry about them overlooking something that's a certain personality, because a lot of people aren't willing to put that kind of work and effort into taking care of a diabetic cat. Another part of assessing your cat's situation is what they are currently eating. You need to eliminate all dry food from their diet and stop free feeding, which means leaving their food out all of the time. Bharat says hello. And I don't know if Bharat has the little brr, but I like to add that. Bharat, Bharat. Cats should not be grazing all day. If your cats eat dry and canned food, then stop feeding the dry and go to an all canned diet. If they only eat dry food, you'll need to get them on wet food and used to regular meal times. You should feed your cats from 2 to 4 times a day, depending on what works best for you. Keep in mind, this is for adult cats. For kittens and young cats, those less than 1 year old, you will need to feed more often. They are growing and require much more food per pound of body weight than an adult cat that is just maintaining. I can attest to that. Smooshy is 9 years old, and as I'm feeding her and the 4.5-month-old kitten, she does not eat as much as he does. But I give him access to food constantly, just constantly, because I want him to grow as big as possible. I love huge, big, heavy, dense male cats, the kind that are like a big old sack of potatoes. Is there an article freely available to read, or is it via subscription? I'd like to read it sometime tomorrow again. Yes, because I'm talking too much. Sorry. Haretoday.com. I'm going to put this in the description. HARE dash today.com. And then you look over on the left and it says Feline Nutrition Foundation Archive. And then I'm just going down the rabbit hole of this archive of their articles. And at some point, I'm going to make a website so that the website can have an archive of my own of all the different articles and courses that I do on this channel. Like, for example, the pet CPR and first aid that I just did was only $25. The QPR, which is question, persuade, refer, which is CPR for mental health, because people in the animal sector have one of the highest rates of suicide. That's a free course if you have the right link, etc., etc. So at some point I'll have a website and I can just say, hey, go to the website and it'll be on there, but I'll put the link in the description box. Okay, so figure out the logistics. This is a step that isn't hard, but one that people often overlook. You need to determine where you will feed your cats. You'll be feeding raw food meals, so you need to keep their feeding place away from human food preparation areas. In other words, the kitchen counter shouldn't be used. Find a place that is easy to clean and quiet, not a high traffic area. Some people will get a set of towels to use in the feeding area. The plates or bowls can be placed on them. After kitties are finished, throw it all in the wash. Quick and easy. you will need to feed on stainless steel, glass, or ceramic plates or bowls. Don't use plastic, as these can get scratches that can harbor bacteria. You can also use paper plates that you throw away after use. Freezer space, you'll need some, especially if you make homemade food or you are feeding more than 2 or 3 adults. So I don't have, a second kitchen because I'm not some rich person. I just make sure that the area that I do my stuff, I do it, and then I immediately clean with my homemade solution. That is, it's a bottle like this, and you fill about 15% of it with rubbing alcohol, a drop, 2 or 3 of plain unscented dish soap. The rest of it is water. And then you just, I'm spraying that on my counter constantly because the alcohol will do the disinfecting for you. And then I'm looking at her feeding area right now. I have these white little rugs that I got from IKEA, and I wash them consistently because, yeah, raw food will get bacteria. You gotta be careful with that. Thank you. Had no issue with you talking. I just won't remember it all from having heard it once. Yeah, I'm the same way. Uh, get the raw cat food. Try to get a few different kinds of raw meals and different meats. Your cat may like one kind and not the other. When you're and they also might be allergic to one kind and not the other. With Broderick having his allergies, and then I'm going down that rabbit hole, come to find out there's a lot of cats allergic to chicken. Like, that's a common thing. So we're going to get that figured out with him. I ordered this test. It's not cheap, so they have cheap ones on Amazon. This one was not through Amazon, it was through its own medical site. And it's a saliva test because how are you going to give them a hair sample if it's a sphinx? It has no hair. Anyways, that test should be able to help me identify. When you're starting out, when you're just starting out, it's important to be able to offer different kinds. Plus, you don't want your cat to get used to just one food, as variety in the diet is important. And Jackson Galaxy says, and this is pretty sad, but if anything were to ever happen to you and your cat was at an animal shelter, like let's say you got into a car wreck, let's, not put that out there. If your cat is super finicky, they all kinds of issues can happen. There's this thing called cat anorexia. And so Jackson Galaxy says you should try to feed your cat a variety of things just in case there there's ever a need that they are fed something differently from what they're used to. Um, you can purchase commercially prepared frozen meals, make some homemade, and get some whole meats to try. If your cat will only accept one kind, it's okay to feed that until you can expand the diet to include other meat types. The idea is to get transitioned to the raw food. Variety can be added after that is accomplished. What types of meat are available will depend on your location, but cats are pretty adaptable. They can eat a wide variety of meats, from chicken to wallaby. There are lots of choices. Wallaby. Wallaby. Is wallaby like a kangaroo? I'm not sure. Taking the big step. Transitioning your kitty to raw food to cat food is the next to raw cat food is the next step. How easy this will be depends on your cat. Some cats will eat a raw meat diet as soon as it's presented, especially younger cats and cats used to canned food. Other cats will take some coaxing to transition. Don't get discouraged if your cat won't eat it at first. This is a big step for them and you need to be patient. Most people start their cats with a ground diet. The consistency is similar to canned food, so in that respect, it's much more familiar for a cat who is reluctant. It's also more familiar for the humans. We understand that feeding whole meat chunks or meat cuts with bones may take a little getting used to for the humans too. You can and should introduce these at some point, but it's not necessary at the transitioning stage. Go ahead and feed some, though, if your cat readily accepts them. There are many ways to transition your cat. You may need to try more than one. Remember that this is a big change for your cat. Raw meats only have a subtle smell. If they do smell, you probably shouldn't be feeding it. So cats used to highly aromatic dry or canned foods might not recognize it as food at first. Many people will make use of bribe foods to get their cats to try this new food. Use whatever technique works for you and your cats. Above all, be patient and persistent. Reaping the rewards. There are lots of benefits to feeding a diet that's close to what your cats evolved to eat. One of the first changes you will see will be in a litter box. Cats fed raw food eliminate less frequently and with less volume. Their stools will be much drier. This is normal. But the best part is that the poop will not smell much at all. This is also completely normal. Soft, smelly poop is actually a sign that your cat is not eating the right kind of food. If you have multiple cats, this benefit alone can make a big difference in your household. After a week or two, you'll also notice a change in your cat's coat. The fur will get very soft and silky. It's not only the fur that improves, but the skin as well. Flaking is reduced and shedding is lessened. You'll notice a change in energy levels. Cats fed a healthy natural diet have more energy, so schedule extra playtime. Ideally, an energetic play session should precede feeding time. This would mimic a cat's natural behavior of stalking, catching prey, and then eating, so it's good psychologically. Jackson Galaxy, he has a whole book basically about that. After you successfully switched to raw food for cats and seen the results, you'll likely want to tell everyone. Frankly, that's how many people first hear about raw cat food. Their friend tells them about it. There's nothing better than hearing real world experiences to get people thinking the right way. We encourage you to help spread the message about a change to a natural raw diet for cats. So, Smooshy, who is you can't even see her. She's over here. Um, I was feeding her canned. I switched her to raw, noticed a dramatic improvement. And then right now, because of some, food stuff going on with the kitten, just for about a week now, she's been eating canned. She's already gaining weight, and and that's not good. We don't want them underweight, but her vet had said she was a little overweight. I didn't think she was, but they said that she was. And she is already like more lethargic. When she was eating just the raw food, she aged backwards. She was like a freaking kitten. She wanted to play multiple times throughout the day, and she had never been like that before. It was amazing. It was amazing. All right. Let's see. I have about 10 more minutes. I will not start on that yet. So tomorrow I will keep reading, and we'll start with bio inappropriate, the dangers of dry cat food. So the last thing that I'll rant about and then I'll get off is something that I think about when it comes to pet food is how it also makes us confront how do we feed ourselves as humans. Because if as a human we are used to eating highly processed foods, prepackaged, all that jazz, then when we have to confront that feeding our cats like that is not healthy, we also have to confront that feeding ourselves like that is not healthy. But the benefit is that maybe by getting the brain switching to understand that the cat should be fed a unprocessed, natural, holistic type diet, it's also how we should be feeding ourselves, right? So, what time will I be streaming tomorrow? Oh, golly gee. I don't know. And you know what? I'm not even sure if I will be now that I think about it. I teach Pilates. I have a client in the morning, and then I have a new friend that I'm going on a friend date with. Isn't it fun trying to make friends when you're an adult? It's like dating, right? You have to find someone who's compatible, and then you have to, like, set up little dates to get to know them and see if you're compatible. Half of the battle is finding people that keep their word, and I think this chick will. She seems really, 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 really cool. um uh is like, people who don't flake out. You try to make plans with them, and then they don't flake out, right? So we are going to go hiking, and we are going to go feed fish at Lake Mead. So I guess some stalker now is going to maybe possibly show up. But it's a giant lake. So you have no idea where we're going to go and feed fish. Good luck trying to find us. So I don't know what time I'll be streaming. I might not. So I shouldn't have said that I was. Sorry. All right. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening. Smooshy was in there. If it's around the same time as today, I probably won't be joining in since it's already past midnight here in Belgium. Sounds like a packed day tomorrow. Hope you have fun out there. Belgium! Wow! That's cool. And your English is awesome because when you're one of those smart Europeans who probably knows like 5 languages. So, what do you call somebody who speaks 3 languages? Trilingual. What do you call somebody who speaks 2 languages? Bilingual. What do you call somebody who speaks 1 language? American. Ha! On that note, bye.